Hi guys, Dave here with another Gunpla TV review, and today I'm back with Frame Arms Girl, and this is Greifen, the Ultramarine Violet version. She may seem familiar, and that's because she has been released before, but this was with the more original green colour. And I say original because this kit is based off the EXF 10/32 Greifen, which is a big mech robot, kind of like what you see in some of the later Matrix movies. And this is type of a hybrid, bringing Frame Arms Girls into the Frame Arms line. They do this quite a lot. And so it's using the design elements of that mech to create a vehicle for her to ride or for her to actually suit up in. Anyway, what I want to stress in this review is that it's all about customization with this kit. It really is quite impressive what you can do with it. So what can you do to make her look, really impressive, like what's on the box art? Well, actually, there are no stickers, just the eye decals if you wanted to make your own face. When you look at just the girl herself, there is amazing colour separation to this kit. The tie's a different colour, you've got two different choices of hats. It really doesn't need any extra work to make her look really quite impressive. Even the straps on her legs aren't stickers, they're pieces of plastic that you have to sandwich into the leg pieces. But that being said, there is amazing potential to make this kit look even better, and that's because it has a lot of places where you could add just subtle panel lines, like even on her chest with the little circular marks, you could add some stuff there, and on her feet there are also circular marks there, and her belly you can add a black line there, just makes it pop. But then you come to the mech itself, and there are all these little parts where you can just add a bit of colour however you want. And it's relatively easy just to paint with Gundam markers. So you'll see on my kit I have added gold to where the pistons are, some panel lines, and also some silver on the thrusters. So yeah, you can really make this kit look amazing without having to have a lot of decals, which you don't get anyway. Yeah, I think that's rather impressive. So there are actually two identical sets of runners for both some of the parts of her body and some of her accessories, parts D and C, and you get parts D in navy and white, and you get parts C in white and grey. It just says, please use as you wish. So I have gone with what was on the box art, but you can switch up bits. You could have her all blue. You could have certain parts of it all navy, or you could have them all white, or you could make the colour separation great and have a bit of both. I really like how this came together. I think it looks great, but you could actually have her legs just pretty much all one colour. You can change it up. Okay, aside from that, you get three faces. You get a normal face, and you get a normal face but looking slightly left, and you get a smiling face. So nice there to see that you get three different faces. You also have decals just in case you wanted to mix up your own version. And furthermore, for her head, there are options that you have. You have two coloured hats, as I said, because they're the same runners. You can have her just without a hat and pigtails. You can have her with pigtails and the hat. And you can have her without pigtails if you want. So a lot of different ways. I've gone with a hat and pigtails. The pigtails even come with some clear plastic. I love that. I think it pops really well with her type of earphone setup. So the purple cutting into the blue, and I've gone with the white hat on her head. The hands also have an A, a B and a C set. So you have your open hands, your clenched hands, and your even more open hands. And they're really chunky, they're quite cool. It's like she's definitely wearing gloves of some sort. Unlike other kits, you build her in one form and thank God you don't have to keep changing her out into other forms. I get disappointed with some of the other ones where you make this really cool looking girl and then they tell you, well, the rest of the kit is now armor and you've type of got to destroy what you just made. There is also one other thing that you can change her face with, and that is the helmet mode. You can have that closed over her face, or you can have it pitched on the back of her head. Lovely clear yellow plastic there. That's nice to see. Going on to the accessories, you get two rocket launchers, but without the bottom half of the gun. You get two machine guns that you make that have a clip at the back and some articulation as you see here. Now you can actually take the clip out and you can put those rockets into that unit. So it's type of a mix or match. Now the thing is, those rockets are very much part of the mech, and so this is where you've got to make your choice. If you wanted to have those weapons free form, then you wouldn't be probably using the mech, but they are both parts, the machine gun and the rocket unit are part of the mech. So because I've made the mech already, I'll show you them here now in the manual, but this is how they look if you had them freeform. Now I said before you have 3 hands, and that's true, but they're the static, preformed hands. When you want to use the weapons, you have to make them with type of sandwich them into the hand. I love that because it means it's going to stay there, it's going to stick. So you can have the rocket, you can have the machine gun, either or, you can have one of each. And you get this knife, and the knife's got clear plastic, looks really cool, and also will sit on her back. So that's probably where I'll keep it if I was just going to display her by herself. Okay, here is the main girl. So let's start from the bottom up. The feet are just one solid unit, so you're not getting any articulation in that foot, but it will go up and down and it is on a peg joint there, and I think that's pretty, that's not too bad. The knee joint goes all the way back up. It's just limited maybe by the her knife there. It can rotate here on the peg, and the ball joint in the hip has, that normal mechanism that allows it to go up and down, but also, that increases movement if so needed. The tie is stationary, but you can have crazy range of motion there. Her head also is on a tiny little ball joint. Be careful, it may pop out if you do too much hard movement. She's going to be limited by her hair, but then talking about that, you can flip it up, that's a nice point, and these 2 bangs also move. The arms, nice and sturdy, very sturdy kit. Look at this, it's amazing. Ball joints on the shoulders, and hands that are on a ball joint, but because of their bulkiness will be limited by the cuff. So if you can see this, you're not getting crazy range of motion, but it will do. So all in all, very sturdy. So to transform her, and I say that lightly because, as I said, I'm happy that you don't really have to mess with the girl figure too much. You're not remaking her. She sits inside of this type of mech armor. It's like her legs slide in there. All you need to do is just attach these arm pieces onto her waist area, and also attach the leg pieces onto the holes in her legs, and then just close it all together. So yeah, it's also apparent now that these parts on the back of the knife are actually useful because that's where the mechanism locks in on 2 points, so it's a bit better. And there you go, she's sandwiched inside this armor mech unit with 2 massive guns, 2 big fists with articulated finger joints and articulated thumb joint. Now one thing I just want to mention is that these guns do rotate when they're on the mech, but they're on these 2 separate parts that have articulation, so it's hard to get it in there, and also this can pop out. So I'd say if there was a weak point of the kit, it's this. It's a bit annoying. Also be careful of this popping off. I would probably glue that on if I was you, but apart from that, very sturdy. So yeah, it does have this claw also that comes out the back. I'm doing this without it connected to her, but yeah, you've got articulation in this part here, the little claw, and the way it all folds back up to make sure that it folds back up to go into the compact mode that you'll need for when mounting it on her. Now once she's in the mech, you're still going to have to attach those arms, and that is done by clenching the fists into that bottom part of what was initially the machine gun. Okay, so maneuverability when she's like this. Now you have to lock in the hands finicky because they're gonna pop off. Also, look how much weight there is on her back. Now this means you've got to have a stand, and we all know that the Kotobukiya stands aren't very good. I've got one of my own here right now, but there is a nice hole up here that you can put it into, so at least that's okay. So what can you do? well, you've got these articulated hands here, and they can move up like so. And you're meant to move, obviously, with the hand itself. Now, I'm being really careful here because whilst you've got a limited range of motion, I really don't want that hand to pop off like it just has. So yeah, I really don't want to start moving this around too much because this is not for playing with and trying to move it like in real time. You're going to have to pose it and maneuver this very carefully because whilst you can pretty much, you know, make her do a lot of things, you're going to have problems with these popping off. If you just want to display it like this the whole time, then you can glue them in. And, you know, I think I may do that. It would allow a lot more. But you can still see she's got, you know, the ball joints are all the same. So it's just, she's going to have a little bit less range of motion because of everything on her. And the hands are going, you don't want to keep having to put them on. They're quite hard to put on. Obviously, she won't be able to bend her knees anymore because there are these flaps here. They've just got to be standing like that. You can move these independently of her arms, but the whole idea of, I mean, it being realistic would be that she's moving this in real time with that because she's controlling it. That being said, just to show you, so that actually comes out, you can do some real crazy stuff like this. Whilst I'm not really doing justice to how maneuverable this can be, it's rather difficult with time limitations and, you know, I don't want things popping off right now. But there is still a good range of motion in the upper body. It's just be careful, it's connected to the hands. So, moving on. What happens if you want to make it as if she's riding it rather than being sandwiched in it? You get some very intricate transformation instructions, which are detailed, and I will try and do them now. Here's just a little look at what you've got to go through. A lot of twisting and turning, but luckily no real extra parts that you have to add to this, which I like. It means that you can switch between the two poses without having to pull bits off and switch stuff around. Okay guys, as she turns around here, this is her riding it. I am spent. That took a long time. You're flipping things around, you're moving stuff, you're making sure it sandwiches together correctly, and it's difficult. But once it's in that pose, things weren't flipping off, things weren't pinging off, but putting it together into this pose takes a lot, because there are so many moving parts here. So, what I gotta say, it's really nice. I do like how it's using everything, you know, and it's quite sturdy. She's sitting on the hands. These parts push out and so she can put her feet on. The actual parts of the rifle are the joysticks, and you've got the rockets at the back here, and the guns are actually part of the chassis now, of unit that she controls the device by. And these are the two magazines. They slip together. It's quite ingenious. It looks quite cool as well, but damn, that took a long time. So her shoulder pieces are here, and her chest piece is there. I should have put a tie on. Sorry, I'm not doing that now. This is not something you're going to want to maneuver around. It's a fixed pose once you've got it this far. Yeah, bits can move up and down and all that, but the proportions would be off. Now, what would I say about this kit? I like the girl. I think she's very pretty. I think that the colour separation is amazing. I love the way that you can just move it and create this out of something else. I think it's ingenious. It must have taken a lot of design work. It is difficult, well, for me anyway. But look at all this colour. It's so good. I love that it's quite easy to add colour yourself. I like that you have all of these different, you know, parts to play with, the faces, and just the great colours. There wasn't really much that pinged off or annoyed me, otherwise that would be a real problem. Maybe the hands. I think what I would do is glue most of them together if you would decide to pose on. I was impressed by how well it kept together. I was impressed by the colour separation, and I'm impressed by the ingenuity behind how this thing transforms. And most of all is, you get to keep the girl that you make in the first stage. No cast off legs, no parts that you're not going to use anymore. It's that and this, and that's great. Thank you again for watching this review, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.